What I worked on this morning was starting to pack away all of the costumes ready to take to the theatre. So to do that, I used the plastic costume bags to put over them, and I did them in groups of what each character costume was. So for Eddie, for example, it had his jacket, his t-shirt, his trousers, and also his suit. So I put them all in the same one. And like for the core dancers, I had their ensemble outfit, their sci-fi convention scene, one all together in one place. And for the ensemble, it was their sci-fi convention one, their normal ensemble outfit, and any of their extra parts, all in one bag. I also put their labels in with them. The reason we put them in the bags is to protect them, and it's also more organised, as we just pull them straight out and know whose is whose, and that they're already ready and separated. We also had some of the cast come down to try on some coats for when they are press, just to check that everything fit before I packed it up. And I then put the costumes in their bags, into larger bags, and into some suitcases, and I packed as many as I could in each one. I also had some help from props who were free to help try and get everything in and done as quickly as possible. I also looked at adding some labels to the sci-fi convention tunics for the core dancers, where I was sewing in labels because all of the tunics look the same, but there are some slight differences in sizes, and with a lot of things like that, the actors often get them confused, and one ends up getting lost. So having the labels in them lets them know exactly who's whose, make sure it's the right size, but it also, if one is missing, we know whose, and we know exactly what one we're looking for and where we should start, like who we should start with for looking for it. And then later today, I also looked at making a cloak for Darth Vader, because in the scene 6, I think it is, they have Eddie dressed up as Darth Vader. So I used a pattern to get the shape of the cloak to cut out, and it was, the material I had was a little bit smaller than the pattern, but it wasn't that much, so I just made it a little bit smaller on the side so the pattern piece could fit correctly. It was also, the material I was using was very stretchy, and it didn't fray, so I didn't need to hem any of the edges. I did twist the top down when I added the strings to make the cloak be able to tie. The reason I did that was just to make it a bit stronger so it can hold the strings better, because there's quite a lot of weight on them, because it is quite a weighty material, and you can really feel it when you hold it. So I wanted to make the top bit as strong as possible. I went over it quite a few times with my machine just to really make sure that it was held in place. And then I also looked at reattaching one of the balls to one of the headbands because it had fallen off, and I used quite a bit of, I used hot glue to try and stick it as best I could, and hopefully that will hold. Another thing that I looked at was just checking all of the bobbins in my machine were filled, because I did do that yesterday, but I wanted to check that I had all of the right colours, because I haven't packed up that sewing machine yet. I want to check I had all of the right colours filled up and ready to go before we go to Taliesin. I think something I could have done better today was been more organised with how I bagged up the costumes, because a couple of items did get left out, so I had to go back and put them, untie them, unbag them, and add the extra garment in. So I think maybe I could have been more methodical. Also, bringing a list, I think, would have made it easier if I bought a cast list to physically tick off each one as I did it and look and match up of who needs to be with who, because the costumes are quite spread out in the costume room. So on one rail in different sections, we'd have all the sci-fi convention costumes and all of the normal ensemble outfits. So it was, and I was packing them with, rather than in those groups, with each actor's all of their costumes in one place, and because they were spread out like that, quite a few items did get missed the first time round, so then I was having to go back and put them in. So I think if I'd had something maybe physical to tick it off, I could have not had that problem as much as I did.